You want to talk about seed oils?
Please,
Let's get into it. So seed oils are things like corn, canola, sunflower, safflower, soybean, peanut oils. They are oils from plant seeds. The first real seed oil to enter the human diet was 1911. Procter & Gamble made Crisco, right? And that was a seed oil in like a white sort of form that mimicked butter for humans. And then Crisco was part of a big marketing campaign where Procter & Gamble was trying to tell people this is better than butter, or it stays fresh longer than butter. And there was this big confusion that happened. But 120 years ago, humans did not eat seed oils. And this is an interesting point of reference to consider. If you think about the health of humans in 1900, heart disease, which is heart attacks, strokes, all these cerebrovascular issues were a fraction of what they are today. They were vanishingly rare. In 1900, a lot of people don't know this, in 1900, essentially very few doctors had even seen a heart attack in their patient. Obesity was incredibly rare 120 years ago.
So if somebody did have a heart attack in 1900, what was the cause?
There are so many things that could cause a heart attack.
But this is this.
Right. Who knows? I mean, I think that heart attacks were incredibly rare in 1900. People could have had a heart attack because of stress or lack of sleep. Other toxins in the environment could have contributed to a heart attack, like mercury toxicity or heavy metal toxicity.
And right there says in the early 1900s, heart attacks rates were significantly lower compared to later decades, as heart disease was not a leading cause of death at the time. Instead, infectious disease like pneumonia, tuberculosis were the meaning heart attacks were considered uncommon in the early 20th century, but saw a substantial rise throughout the century, becoming the most common cause of death by mid-century. What happened in the mid-century?
These foods happened. Processed foods happened. That's the major thing. Plus, we can think about introduction of pesticides, introduction of other foods that are more contaminated with problematic things like heavy metals in the human diet. But at a broad level, ultra-processed foods came into the human diet over the last 120 years. And seed oils came into the human diet over the last 120 years. Food dyes, mono and diglycerides, all of these ingredients that your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize have become part of the human diet, the majority of our diet.
So why did companies use them? Is it purely because it makes the taste better? Is it because it's more enjoyable? Is it because it's more addicting? Is it because of what? What are the three, four, five?
All of the above. They're cheaper. They have a better shelf life. They taste better, and they're more addicting. So recently, evidence has come out, which is, I think we need to corroborate this, but there was a lawsuit that recently was filed, and the lawsuit alleges that many of these big food companies, Kraft, ConAgra, Nestle, actually have been working with scientists to develop foods that are hyper-palatable, potentially even using things like EEGs. So an EEG is an electroencephalogram. It's something we do in the hospital when we're looking for seizures in a patient's brain. But there's the possibility, there are rumors that these food companies have actually been using brain scans like this to see how eating a Pringle affects your brain and to engineer foods like this to light up your brain in the maximum way possible. This is how sinister this is. And this is, I guess, sort of legal because we have an open food system and there's nothing illegal about a Pringle. But if these food companies are actually making these foods intentionally to light up your brain and make them hyper-palatable and hyper-addictive, we are really being poisoned. It's really pretty crazy.
So let me go into a different. So far was addicting, shelf life, cheaper. What was the other one?
Hyper-palatable and addicting, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever thought about starting a drink company or energy drink company?
No, because I think that your energy should not need to come from a drink, right? I think that when you have energy, it comes from the mitochondria of your cells working.
Right.
And I don't use energy drinks. I know that people need to use energy drinks, but energy drinks are in some ways a crutch, right? We're using something because we are feeling low, because we're having a crash in the afternoon, because we are not having enough energy, enough mental clarity, enough chutzpah, right?
I remember when we were talking about potentially creating an energy drink, and we flew out and we sat down, we tasted a bunch of different flavors. And then the guy was very honest. He was straight up and he said, look, when it comes down to drinks, people buy it not because it's good for them. They buy it because it tastes good.
Tastes good.
So if you can find a way it's important to make it more taste, that's something that I'm willing to drink it 2-3 times a day, then make me feel like it's somewhat good for me psychologically. I'll feel like I'm compensating for this is good for me because if I take it, I'm getting vitamins, right?
Right.
So if you actually made a drink that was good for you, it probably wouldn't taste good and you wouldn't be addicted to it, and maybe you wouldn't even need it.
Exactly. Why do you need an energy drink 3 times a day is the ultimate question there. Why do humans need so many energy drinks? Why are we so tired?
Somebody may say, what's wrong with us?
Hey guys, I am Paul Saladino. You can find me on Connect if you have any questions about diet, health, recovering from chronic illness or autoimmune disease. I'm excited to connect with you guys all there, and I'll see you in there.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.